Hey, yo, peace, family. This is Lord Jamar for the Yanadameen Godcast. And if you watch the Godcast, you know my number one sponsor is Miracle Food. That's right, Miracle Food, the perfect cleanse and reboot for a healthy immune system. And these times, you know, a healthy immune system is very important. It's also anti inflammatory. Miracle Food has Moringa, black seed oil, Beet Root oil. It also contains CBD. Miracle Food is just what it says. Miracle Food. Brought to you by my brother, the Chakra Doctor. So this is a black-owned company, y'all. We promote black-owned companies here on the Godcast. Okay, so go to chakradoctor.org and get your Miracle Food today. Tell them Lord Jamal sent you. Peace.
I'll let you go peacefully. Oh, yeah.
Let's get it. Drugs to cope with the way we live. They done turn the neighborhood into the Bay of Pigs. Kidnapped the fathers and enslaved the kids. Now they poisoning the water that they gave the kids. He ran from the cops, so they sprayed his wig. We gon' turn the precinct to the Bay of Pigs. Saw the crib like that's the way you live. Loaf bread, baking soda sitting in the fridge. My melanin garners hatred, it's sacred. Hussein Bolt, I'm too swift for the races. Drugs change the house structure. See my uncle smoke rocks downstairs, now the attic is in the basement.
Preview.
What's up with you? Everything cool, bro?
You know, just same soup, just reheating it. You know what I mean?
The Virgo stuff. Look.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. You know, that's one of my go-tos. Same soup.
Come on, man.
You know what I mean?
Because, you know,
Yeah.
and the soup we heat is that we reheating is an immaculate soup. It's
Absolutely.
a very nutritious soup. It's
There's
a
a
very
lot-
it's
there's a
very
lot at the
hearty.
door. Yo, there's a lot at the door when we get to the diner. You understand what I'm saying? We need to
Okay.
put it up. So
And
it's
we can
always-
just get straight to the soup, bro.
exactly,
So
bro.
that's
Exactly.
what we be doing out here.
So
You know
it
what I
is,
mean?
bro.
I
Yeah.
got my people out here, in these YouTube streets, in these internet streets. You
Okay.
know, they support the God.
Yeah,
They like my point of
congratulations,
view,
bro.
you know.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro. You know, they like
Yeah.
my point of view, and you know, they feel like, you know, I got something to add on to the cipher, and that's what I do. So
That's what it is.
and I like to highlight, you know, real hip hop. I'm about that real hip hop shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm connected to a lot of real hip hop motherfuckers, like, you know what I mean, like on the low, like
Yeah.
somehow it's some sort of connection or relationship that I be having with the real ones.
Mhm.
So yeah, so you here, you know what I mean?
I appreciate you having me. Like,
For those that might have been under a rock, you know, I like to take people back, you know. Tell me the Mike Geronimo story. You know, where are your origins? How did you first get exposed to hip hop?
Mhm.
And then how did you turn from a fan into a participant?
So, I mean, I come from Flushing, Queens. I was born there. You know, my mom's worked for Ebony. My dad was a cop for NYPD. And
Now explain a little bit. I'm not to cut you off, but explain a little bit to people who might not be from New York City, kind of what Flushing is like. Shout out to my man, Large Professor. When I first met Large Professor, you know, he was living in Flushing, and I used to go out there. We used to be out there like every day.
I remember because I was a shorty when I first met you. I don't think you might not even remember, but
I might not.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna put you on.
Riding around in that wood fucking.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what's up. So, Flushing, for people who don't know, it was a real eclectic neighborhood. Like, it was a mixture of everything. But everybody's families, you know, they was working class. They was working class families. You know,
like,
so
there's a lot of Asians in Flushing, but there's a lot of niggas. There's a lot of
all of that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like Flushing to me was like a microcosm of New York. Like, if you wanted to think of all the different races that exist in New York, just go to Main Street. you know. So in our neighborhood, we had African Americans, Hispanics, Asians, East Indians, you name it, it was there. So, and like I said, everybody wasn't like Richie Rich, you know, everybody's mama worked or your father worked or you did
Blue
something.
collar.
Blue collar. So as fate would have it, like the first person that my mom's was comfortable with me being outside with, like, you know how your moms would be like, who you outside when you say such and such? Okay, well, you could stay outside till the lights come on, the street light. That was Large Professor. So Large was like, Large and my man Van, shout out to Van. Large and Van were like the first two people that, like, when I went outside, those was the first two people I ever met in my life. So Large was always like a big brother to me.
Now, how much older is Large than you?
Than me, I want to say maybe something like, I want to say between 6 to maybe 8 years.
Oh, okay. And that's pretty huge when you're young. Like that means
that's that gap.
Big brother. Like, yeah, okay.
Right, where, you know, he was doing certain things and I wasn't old enough. So
you couldn't even
to usher me in. So even with like breakdancing and all of that and like graffiti and all of that, Large was always the one that put me on. Like Large drew, so I would draw. You know, Large did breakdances, so I would do breakdance. So I pretty much always followed his lead, you know, and that's how it was. And that was like even before, you know, he became Large Professor, Main Source, and all of that. So
just Paul. Was he just Paul?
Yeah, like that's my dog. That's who I kept up with. You feel me? So between him having success in the music industry and us growing up together, my mom, my uncle, my aunt, and one of my best friends, Jamar, they all passed away like in 1 year. So because of that, because of my mom passing away, I ended up moving from Flushing. You know what I mean?
Are you the only child?
Nah, I got a brother. You know what I mean? But we, you know, it uprooted everything in life, bro. You know what I mean? So I moved from Flushing, and from there, initially, I ended up in East Elmhurst, Corona, with my aunt and my uncle. And so from there, you know, that's how I got in with people in Corona and East Elmhurst. And I stayed there pretty much, I want to say about 4 or 5 years. And then I went and lived with my dad, and I ended up in Bayside. So I went through all of these different experiences because of all that stuff that had happened, you know, that you ain't counting on in life. It just does. And to make a long story short, once I moved out to Bayside, by that time I was old enough to go back to, you know, Flushing and go chill on my own. So I would go to Large crib like every day, you know, when I hit 16, which to make it all, you know, complete, make it a full circle, was when I actually first met you in Pool Bar. And like Q-Tip and Pete Rock and Premier and Nas and Akinelli. And
that's what I'm saying. I first met Nas when he was like 16, fucking with
Large.
Yeah.
So, and then at that time it was different because now Large is Large Professor, Main Source. You understand what I'm saying? So now he got the turntables in the crib. He got the microphone set up in the living room. Yeah, like people like y'all and Tip and like I said, Gangstar and Busta and them
just coming through.
Just coming through to his crib. And I'm only like 15, 16, but I'm just mind blown because I watch y'all niggas on Video Music Box. So to see you know what I mean? So to just be there and I'm you know, at his crib, that meant everything in the world. And then from there, I got into DJing. Right, so
I got into it too, bro. I started as a DJ.
Yeah, that's how I stop
Talk
with the
to him, Virgo. Talk to him, Virgo. Come on, bro. V's up.
But yo, that's
Give me
crazy.
the
Bro.
pocket shit on them.
Yeah. So, yo, you know what it is. I don't even got to go into it with you.
Yes,
like,
I started as a DJ and I was nasty too. I'm just gonna let the record reflect. But
right.
okay.
So, and my thing on the tables, I was good at blends, and I was starting to get better at like cuts and scratches. But Large was like mind blown that I was DJing. Like he loved it. So I had my techniques, I had my Concord needles, I was putting my penny on
all the DJ
right.
shit.
I have my marker, I'm marking like where
Marking the record.
exactly all of that. I'm going to Hot Watts on the Ave every day, getting 12 inches like a LL joint, y'all's joint.
Wait. That was the name of y'all shit in Queens, Hot Watts? Is that what the name of the record store?
Yeah, like Rockweiler and my man Vlad from school used to actually work in there, and the old white guy that owned the place was named Sock.
Rockweiler, the producer.
Facts.
Okay.
Because Dana was a DJ.
A record store, really? Okay.
Yeah, so like DJ Sage and like Clue and all of them, they would always go there. Like if you was a DJ in Queens, you knew how
where you went.
You definitely went there, right?
Right.
So I was just doing that every day, bro. I would go there and get whatever records I loved, and that's pretty much the part I initially, chose to use to get into the music full stream. But then, like I said, being at Large Crib, everybody was always freestyling, and everybody was always rhyming. Right, it was Hot Wax, pardon me.
Wax.
Part itself. I'm sorry.
Ragsdale corrected you. Yeah.
Right.
It's all
If they know,
they know what time it is. They know what you're talking about.
So I would go there every day, and then like at Large Crib, everybody would spit. So first I just started doing it, just bullshit and like, making everybody laugh. But then my man Van, he was like, yo, you should try and like really, take it serious. So between him, my brother, and my cousin, I slowly started converting from the DJ shit to rhyming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had a battle one day, not really a battle in a lunchroom, because I went to Bayside High School. Shout out to Bayside. But I had like lunch period. I went in and my man Rasta T asked me, he's like, yo, you know how to rhyme? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, right, whatever. So, we start banging the beat on the lunchroom table, and I spit, and they liked it. And then after that, I started battling people on the bus on the way home from school. And the more I did it, I guess the more I took to it. And the next thing I know, my man Chucky Madness, who was another DJ, he went to high school with me. He asked me to come to his crib so that he could start recording me doing freestyle. And back then, mixtapes were everything. So I was just lit because I thought like he was going to put me on a mixtape. Like I wasn't, you know what I mean? Like I thought I was just going to be able to rewind myself and hear it on a Southside blend tape or whatever. So I went to his crib, I started going, and then that's when I met like Sage and all the other DJs from Queens that I was coming up with, listening to. And Chuck put me in a talent show on Liverpool in 109. And he didn't really tell me. He's just like, yo, we gonna go do something on Saturday. So, you young. I'm like, all right, whatever. So we go, and I end up performing. And I remember, bro, like the dudes that went before me, they kind of was throwing bottles at them and like, like trash at the stage and all this other shit. And I went on, and I remember after we did the first song, like the whole auditorium was dumb quiet. And I was like, all right, what that mean? And I just heard somebody out of nowhere like, yo, you got another song? And I was like, oh, okay. So I did another song halfway, and I didn't have the whole thing written. So I freestyled. I did, I was quick on my feet. So I just started spitting freestyling, but it all worked out. And when I got off stage, that's when I met Irv Gotti through Chuck. And Gotti was like, yo, I got a studio, blah, blah, blah. I want you to come through. And right as we talking, like they start shooting this shit up.
Shit.
Yeah, fast. So we all got separated. And then I think maybe a couple of days later, he had called me And again, he was telling me about the studio, and we went. And then the first night we went, like the first real time that we went in, we ended up doing Shit's Real.
Get the fuck out of here. The first
Yeah.
night.
Yeah, like the first time I had ever gone to record, we did Shit's Real. And he asked me, he's like, yo, you never did this before? And I was like, nah. And he's like, never. And I was like, you know, like I rapped at Large Crib, but I was never in a studio and recording. So he just did this
kind of around it. Did you feel like being around it and seeing, you know, being at Largest Crib? Do you think that definitely aided in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of your how you approach it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think it was so much like, I don't think like it was a thing where I was cognitively telling myself like, all right, make sure you breathe, make sure your bars are this. And I don't think it was that, but I think all the exercise that I was getting from just spitting at his crib, it just made it for me like, all right, this is what we do. So when somebody asked me to do it, I wouldn't, you know, like I wouldn't really have a reason not to, because that's what we did all day at his crib. So, you know, like I said, Irv asked me if I'd ever done it before, and I told him nah, and he just did this laugh, but I knew by the laugh that like we was on to something. And like I said, the rest was history.
And so Irv had did that beat.
Yeah, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think either Chuck had came up with the idea and either Irv, you know, actually structured it, or it might have been vice versa. But I know that Irv had a lot to do with the track. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, definitely, bro.
So you record that joint, and what happens from there? How does it get to the point that we were able to hear that song? You know what I mean? Like how did it get out into the world?
Well, it was crazy because we did it, and I think I want to say we did maybe 2 more songs. We did I can't remember the third song, but we did another song called For My Niggas, and that ended up becoming You're Only a Customer for Jay-Z. But Irv gave me the track, and I did it. And we did a song called Hemp and Head. So we did 3 songs. And I think Irv was like, you know, going the traditional route of trying to get the music out there. But then he just got to a point, bro, where one day he was just like, yo, I'm going to press this shit up on my own. And I was like, well, how we doing that? And he's like, I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out. And you know what I mean? And the next thing I know, we had like 12-inch singles of Shit's Real. And we basically took them to everybody. He would go to Hot and sleep in front of the radio station. He would wait for like Ed Lover, Dr. Dre and them, or to show up. And he would jump out the van and religiously give them, you know, Shit's Real. And then if we wasn't doing that, then we would go to whatever nightclub was popping on whatever day of the week it was. And whoever was DJing would just take them the record. I tell them my name. I'd be like, yo, if you like it, rock it. If you don't, break the shit over your knee. You ain't gonna never hear from me again. You know, thank God it all worked out. And
so wait a minute. This is Irv Gotti's first time ever attempting to like basically try to be like a label or some shit.
Absolutely. Like I think before me, bro, I want to say that he had artists that he was dealing with, but I don't think that it was either he was more in a sense of a liaison between them and the whatever label it was.
Trying to shop them and shit like that.
Right. Or, you know, whatever, for whatever reason, everything wasn't sticking to the wall, figuratively speaking. So I guess when I came along, him already having that background and running around doing certain things, it's like that, all that energy just was the right place, right time, right people.